The Texans are difficult to discuss because we don't know, as of this recording on Thursday, what the status of Will Fuller will be, and he is a huge influence to this team because if you look at Deshaun Watson, when Will Fuller is on the field, according to the Quant Edge, he averages 8.3 yards per pass attempt. His ADOT is 9.3. Those are massive numbers. But when Fuller's off the field, it's 7.0 yards per attempt and a 7.5 yard average depth of target. Like, that's a huge difference. And that means that Deshaun Watson goes from being maybe not the best quarterback on the slate if Will Fuller plays, arguably the best quarterback. I would say he's the best quarterback, to being kind of like a secondary type guy if Will Fuller can't go. So what is your read on this Texans offense, given what we know right now, which is little?
Yeah, I have a lot of the same data. I mean, in 9 games where Fuller's played at least half the snaps, Deshaun Watson has averaged 0.35 passing net expected points per dropback. In 6 games without Will Fuller, he's at negative 0.02. So basically, to put some context behind those numbers, he's more or less been Lamar Jackson when Will Fuller's played, and he's been Andy Dalton when Will Fuller has not played. So I'm with you. I have in my game notes article, if Fuller plays, Watson might be the best quarterback play out of all 8. So I'm with you. If Fuller plays, I love Deshaun, but if he doesn't, I think it's just kind of, he's not a full afterthought, but it drops him down significantly, and it drops the whole offense down as well.
And he also impacts DeAndre Hopkins quite a bit. I think that Hopkins is in play even if Will Fuller goes because he's DeAndre Hopkins. He has 32% of the targets in the games that both Kenny Stills and Will Fuller have played. But when Fuller can't play, Hopkins has 35% of the targets and 63% of the deep targets. Now, the deep targets overall are small. It's a smaller share or smaller number when Will Fuller's not out there because Deshaun Watson doesn't throw deep as often. But having 63% of them is massive. He is $8,300 for the full 4-game slate. I'm going to have him no matter what, but I would have a lot more of him if Fuller can't go. And I think that he is the only Texan who, quote-unquote, benefits from not having Will Fuller out there. Even though the touchdown upside and the offense goes down, I think that the increased deep target share for DeAndre Hopkins helps mitigate that. Will Fuller, very cheap. He is $5,600 for the full 4-game slate. That is very, very low. Will Fuller's target shares in the games that he and Stills have played, 22% overall, 32% of the deep targets, tied with Hopkins for the team lead there. So if we get like confirmation, if we get the the Shefty bomb that we get like at midnight the night before each time, if we get one of those, a Shefty bomb in advance that Will Fuller's going to play, I would have quite a bit of Will Fuller. If we don't get that, like if we get confirmation when inactives come out that he's going to play, it's a lot harder for me to get super enthused about him. So what's your read on the Texans pass catchers here? Again, not knowing how things are going to play out there.
Someone like Will Fuller is the right kind of risk to embrace because we know what his true upside can be. I mean, he can score twice and probably put up like 120 yards on 5-6 targets, if things really go his way. But he can also put up a 0 if he comes out after, 11 snaps because he's injured. So I'm going to struggle a lot with Will Fuller if he is, good to go. If he is not, I'll probably still just kind of treat Kenny Stills like a sprinkle. I can't fully trust him. He hasn't stepped into Will Fuller. As much as we love Kenny Stills on this podcast, he's not been.
This is a Kenny Stills fan podcast.
Yeah. I guess maybe if anything, we could look more at the tight ends, but I don't really want to play either Darren Fells or Jordan Akins.
All right. So do you want to hear Kenny Stills' target share with Will Fuller versus without him?
Sure.
All right. So in games that Fuller has missed, or in games that Fuller and Stills have played,
okay,
Kenny Stills has 12.6% of the team's targets. In games that Will Fuller has missed, it's 12.7. It is 0.1 percentage points difference. He can all in a deep target. He can get a red zone target. Cool. He's $5,800. That's a lot for a dude who we're hoping gets a red zone target. So nothing more than sprinkles, and if he doesn't wind up in my player pool, I don't care. That's not going to bother me at all. So I think that we're on pretty much the same page there, where we kind of want some confirmation about Will Fuller beforehand.